session earlier this year, right? And I think it was around data product management. And someone said, now I was a data product manager, now I am an AI product manager. And it gave me a very good laugh, because truly that's actually very interesting to have really pointed out, because actually, yeah, I was a data product manager, and there are differences, but not so much differences that you would have. So thank you once again, InnovaLab, for having me. This session, I believe, would be for 2 days. So we'll be having a bit of the program today, and then we'll conclude tomorrow. So once again, thank you all for being here. AI is the new thing in town. So it's really interesting that, we have people that want to tap one or two things from the I would say oil first, because they say data is the new oil, AI is the refined bit. So for today, we will be talking about AI. Basically, we'll be talking about misconceptions, demystifications, and possibilities of AI. And I chose that because I've had to speak with thousands of professionals in data analytics, even in product management, and there's always this misconception about AI, what AI is capable of doing, what AI can do. I get to speak with some people and they say some things, and I'm like, do you really think AI would do that? That's actually software engineering. That's even not AI. So we need to demystify a number of things and talk about AI generally, and we'll be doing that today. So then tomorrow, we'll be talking about some personal experiences in building AI products, and some use cases in AI in relation to our scope here in Africa, right? Because one thing that we found out is that a lot of things around AI are built by foreigners, are built by people abroad. So it's really not so much in our context in Africa. We have a very unique context in Africa. Our domain is very wonderful. Our markets are even they behave very differently from the Western markets. So building AI solutions in tandem with that context, in tandem with the African market, should actually be what we should leverage on, or what we should do. But that's really is not the case. So we have methodologies that are built by Western markets and have been forced into the African market, right? I will just let me take a time to present my screen so that I just go into the presentation proper. And while I do that, thank you very much, Blessing, for even helping to get people to share what their expectations are. I usually do that on every call I am invited to, just to get a scope of what people want to get from the event. So it's really great to see that a number of us really we are interested in AI, and it's good. And somebody said AI product management, that they are surprised to hear that. I'll tell my story in a few minutes. You would find out how I discovered AI product management. I can't seem to find. Okay, let me just share my entire screen. Okay, I think my screen should be coming up now. I think this should be it. Please confirm you can see my screen. Can someone please confirm if they can see the screen on up here now?
Yes, we can.
All right, wonderful. All right, so just a bit of information. If you have questions, you can please drop them in the chat box, and Blessing would help out to read them out to me later towards the end of today's event. I can't see my screen. I can't see the chat box from this presentation box. Okay, right. So we are here to talk about how product managers can leverage AI to solve problems in Africa. And I like this quote specifically. This quote from Mary Lee, and she's the product lead. She's the AI product lead at Google. And she said AI product management is the career shaping the future. And I love it so much, so much. There's another one I love that I've forgotten Averneck. She said our job as an AI product manager is to make customers to give customers peace of mind, right? And I love those quotes so much because it's actually the truth, right? And I would show you why it is, why AI product management is the career that is shaping the future. First off, a bit of introduction about myself. Like Blessing mentioned, I am a data scientist and I am also an AI product manager. So I've always been a product professional. Then I wanted to do something more. I wanted to, I love to push the limits of possibilities, like she said. So I was looking for how I could do more. Everybody is doing a product management. What can I do more? What can I add to what I do? And I started to explore around blockchain. So for some that has been in my session earlier this year, I talked about it. I saw that blockchain didn't really gain the adoption at that time, so I decided to try analytics. I've always loved analytics, but getting into it was so expensive, right? The trainings and all and the likes. So I eventually took the bold step. I went into data analytics, and I got a job at Wema Bank to become a data scientist, as a data scientist rather. And until when I got into the job, did I know that there was possibilities for me to combine both experiences together, right? I discovered that data science projects were failing, data science products were failing, because that bit of user research, who you're building for, wasn't there. That design thinking part of building, of developing a product wasn't there. Data scientists or data professionals would just build something and give to the team and say, you guys use this, right? Without even knowing that if the team needs it, and I found that niche through a number of projects, and I discovered that I think I can pull it off, and that's what I currently do now. So AI products in the bank today, or my organization, it's being developed by my very small team, which is really cool. We do some really great stuff. So yeah, that's actually the story of how I became an AI product manager. And it was until I decided to combine both. I was doing data product management at the time, just looking at the data, what can we build from the data, what's product. Then it developed into AI because AI is when you apply machine learning to your data, right? Then you get your AI. I'll explain that bit in a moment. That's one of the misconceptions I want to tackle, right? Because people feel AI just lands on the floor just like that. No, AI is a number of things that has already happened. So I'm also an ideation coach. I have a sort of a platform called Ideate with Philip, where I help people to bring their ideas to life and push it to execution. Also, I am also an human-centered design expert, which is what I was trying to talk about when I was saying a lot of things we do around AI or these technologies are not in the scope of Africans. They don't reflect African realities, right? And it is because of the human-centered approach, right? How are Africans using technology, right? Is that being captured in the way it is being developed by these foreign countries, companies? So these are questions that I tend to answer with my time as a product executive at LBS. So I'm also a writer. I also speak. I'm invited to a number of data analytics events that I speak, product management events that I speak as well. It's really cool, being able to speak with across multiple communities, I would say. So it's really wonderful, and I love it so much. Okay, so let's go into it because of our time. An AI product manager builds products that harness the power of AI methodologies, tools, applications to achieve an end goal. Right. I earlier in the year when I took the session about data product management and how to become a data product manager, the definition of a data product manager followed this, right? A data product manager is someone that builds a product, a data product actually, that harnesses the power of data, that uses data basically. But an AI product manager is different because they tend to apply AI methodologies, they have the understanding of it, and they apply it into the products they are building, right? And from my own experience, because I'm a data scientist, I write my codes. I write codes. I develop machine learning algorithms. I find myself better able to understand the AI applications AI methodologies, AI tools, and how to apply it to a product, right? Usually, I've spoken to tons of AI product managers across the world. There's very few of us in Nigeria, actually, like very, very few people that have this deep understanding of AI and also deep understanding of product management. But I've had to, reach out to a number of people, have conversations with them across the world, and understanding what they do and how they go about their deliverables as an AI product manager. I tend to see that they have the full understanding of data analytics, right? They have that full understanding of advanced analytics. They now apply it to the business they're building, right? A time that I was speaking with um, I can't remember the nomenclature, but he was a product manager that really was knowledgeable in data analytics. And what they basically do was they told the data scientists what kind of codes to write, towards the development of a product, fraud products, chatbots, and the likes that we all love to use. They are AI products as we have them. So an AI product manager is somebody that builds this product using this power of AI methodologies, tools, and applications to achieve that end goal or business objective. And I will now move into AI, and we'll talk about some misconceptions and demystifications. So AI basically brings a lot of opportunities for us as product managers to tackle numerous challenges, build products that empower individuals and communities across Africa. Remember, I said earlier that Merili said AI product management is the career shaping the future, right? And if we are able to, at this level in Africa, if we're able to quickly harness the power of AI in tandem with our realities, we will definitely build a wonderful future for Africa. So AI adoption in Africa is still it's in its early stages. I've had the opportunity to speak at certain events, and I get to interface with even foreign professionals in the AI space, and you get to realize that these guys have gone very far in adoption of AI, right? There's literally any industry you would see, there's no industry you would see rather that they don't have any application in AI, right? Where we are still battling with building chatbots here, using AI in healthcare, using AI in agriculture and the likes, right? But every single industry that they work that exists in these countries abroad, they've been able to, and I mean the Western world, they've been able to apply AI to them, and it's really wonderful to see. So the potential is undeniable. We need to find a way to apply these initiatives, this AI technology, basically into our context in Africa. So let's demystify AI. So a lot of times people tell me, Philip, I have this idea. I think AI will solve it. I mean, even in my organization. And I tend to listen to the idea, and I pause and reflect. And I tell them, sometimes I don't think AI is the solution I'm looking for, right? And I would explain that also very soon in detail. I don't want to skip the things that I want to say. So artificial intelligence is a broad field of computer science concerned with creating intelligent machines capable of performing activities that normally require human intelligence. I want to break this down for us now, right? AI is a field of computer science that is concerned with creating intelligent machines. So for you to create intelligent machines, right, that can perform what humans can perform, you have to teach it a language. You have to communicate with it in a language, right? Remember, human intelligence, one of the ways to, I'm not a linguistic person, I'm not a linguistics professional, but I believe that one of the ways to assess human intelligence is through conversations, through languages that we speak, right? You can't understand what I'm saying if I don't speak to you, right? That's one of the first or basic stages of understanding what someone else knows, right? So, but for computers, we need to teach them how humans behave. But how do we then do that? There has to be language created, right? And in that manner, you have something called machine learning, right? And that is where the concept of machine learning comes in. The machine is learning, right? And a lot of times people think AI just, for example, ChatGPT, a lot of people don't even know how ChatGPT works. And ChatGPT is just answering questions from nowhere. No, that tool has been taught how to understand what you're saying, right? Using so many machine learning models and advanced analytics to give you a wonderful response, right? And before you can teach a machine a language, what are you teaching the machine with? You're teaching the machine with data, right? Data is the bedrock of everything we do. Everything starts with data. It might not end with data, but it all starts with data. So a lot of times, organizations or startups, where my friends that are startup founders, they just reach out to me, Philip, how can we employ AI to what we're doing? We're trying to acquire customers and this and that. And in my mind, I just say, you know what? You have to first have the data, right? Who are your customers? What data do you have about them before you can even apply AI to whatever you want to do, your objective as a business? So if you don't have the data, you can apply machine learning to that data to give you an artificial intelligence system. That's just actually what the process feels like. And this is part of the investigation I wanted to talk about, right? So everything we do, starts and ends with data. So from your onboarding of products, from your product onboarding, you have to collect the right amount of data so that as you move along in your product journey, you are able to, perform advanced analytics, perform machine learning to the data to build an artificially intelligent system for your business objective, right? I would keep explaining as we go on ahead. So I'm sure we have all seen, for those of us that use Spotify, we've seen the AI DJ. We have interfaced with chatbots. If you've not even seen chatbots in organizations or banks or your different platforms that you might have been using, you'll see chatbots. You must have used ChatGPT or BARD or any of all these large language models, right, which is another wonderful thing on its own, right? These solutions came out of applying machine learning to data, right? And by the way, I love to do something usually on the call, but I won't be able, I can't see my screen now. I just tend to take a poll on the call. How many males are on the day on the call? How many females are on the call? Right? How many of us have English names? How many of us have traditional names? That is data on this call right now, right? How many of us have our videos on? How many of us have our videos off? How many of us have a DP on our avatar? How many do not have any on? This is already data that is being collected that can now, you now collect so many of them that is too cumbersome to analyze just with your naked eyes. You then start to apply machine learning so that the system can have the same understanding that you have, right? That I would say the system can, so that the system can have the same understanding that you have based on the way you have trained it to behave, right? So when people tell me, I want to digress here, and when people tell me, they are scared of AI. I was in the University of Abuja. I was teaching the students about product development and a number of things for the Global Entrepreneurship Week. And the students came to meet up to me after the program and said he's very afraid about AI. He sees this news around, and this doom of this AI doom that AI will destroy the world, and AI can just become very intelligent to the point that they now take over everything we do and the likes. And I smiled and said to him, AI is a tool. Same way knife is a tool. I actually had to use that example, right? You can either use a knife to cut your bread, to cut your yam, or to stab somebody. The knife still remains a knife. It is in the hand of whoever wields it that you achieve a result with it, right? Same thing for AI. AI is just a tool. You can either use AI for good or use AI for bad. So there will always be bad actors around new technology. So earlier on in group chat today, somebody posted out their deep fakes, with AI. People are sending other people videos about things that didn't happen, that AI did, and they just made it look as if it was the person that did it and things like that. And I just had to shake my, like, human behavior is so unbelievable, right? Because it is the humans that are using AI in that manner. So when we want to be afraid of AI, we should really be afraid of humans because they are the ones building the AI to bend to their will wherever. AI just is a tool. However you use it is how it to be used. So, but I'll come back to the conversation to say the ability of AI to analyze vast data sets in real time enables organizations, businesses, startups, to make quicker and more accurate decisions. So if you have a lot of data sets that you've collected, data points rather, that you've collected about your customers, right? You are building a financial service product, for example. You've collected data about their demography, their transaction type, their transaction periods, their behavior, digital channels they are on, and so many of these data points. They run into millions, right? You can't analyze that data in Excel. Excel can only even take 1 million rows of data, right? But using machine learning, you can make sense of the data, teach the machine, teach a system how to do what you can do, right? And give you an output. And AI basically is just a combination of so many machine learning models coming together to give you a response. But I don't know if we know on this call today that ChatGPT, every time you ask a question, it runs a model that gives you the best answer. So modeling is usually that you apply machine learning to something and it gives you a score at the end of the day, close to the accuracy, like the most accurate score to what you want to achieve. So the AI itself, the machine is saying, I think this is the closest to the kind of answer you would need or you would love. So it scores it. So ChatGPT then comes, or bad, they come to give you the closest answer to what they think you would need, right? That's when, if it's not what you need, you ask it again, give me this in another context, in another form, in another manner, right? So every time you ask that question, a model is running, that has been developed is running to give you an answer. So, and how do we get to that point? They collected data, they train the machine to understand loads of data points. So when you see an LLM today saying they have 7 billion parameters, the LLM is trained on 7 billion parameters, 18 billion parameters, 10 billion parameters. Those parameters means data points. So they've collected data points and annotated those data in those form for the machine to understand. So they break it down for the machine to understand, right? And it's really wonderful to see what OpenAI has done, to be very candid, right? I was in a training recently where we were discussing around OpenAI and the likes, and seeing what they have done back end, I was really, really impressed, right? It's something you would think about as an analytics professional, but the way they went about it is really wonderful, right? So this AI that we just do, it starts with the data already. So what data do they use? Text data they find online, data that they've seen from journals, articles, encyclopedias. That is what they train those machines to understand. So that when you ask a question, it gives you a response, right? So the point I'm trying to make ultimately is that data is the bedrock of everything we do around AI. So the person that was saying that I was a data product manager and now I'm an AI product manager, I hope the person can see how it has flowed. So data product management will just basically you understanding what the data is, making insights from the data, building a product from the insights it generated, right? But AI takes it to the next level, applying machine learning to the data to make further sense. Things you couldn't even see in the data, you now get to see them using using machine learning and artificial intelligence to understand what you want to achieve. So I would like to talk at this point, because I've tailored the conversation towards the ethical considerations around AI. People using AI for bad and the likes, right? So one major thing that has come to happen in the space today of AI is, remember I said it's whatever you give to the data to the machine to understand, that is what he understands, right? So say you give a machine, right, a data set or the data set of us on this call today. And just because on this call today we have just one Yoruba person and or let me say one Nigerian person, and other people are from other African countries, and we tell it to predict based on the number of calls today, how many population do we think we have in Africa. Just because I am the only one representing Africa and Nigeria on this call today, and other people are from other eastern, southern or western countries, if it gives me a population of times 10 billion, for example, right, or let me say times 10 million, it would predict that only I am the representative of the entire African. So I would have the lowest number. Just the context I gave it, because I'm the only one on this call, I would, at the end of the results, I will have the lowest number on the call, whatever number it brings up based on whatever I've given it, because that is what it has been trained with, right? And that's where bias comes in. But in reality, Nigeria is the largest has the largest population in Africa. So things like that around ethics, things around biases, have to be factored into what we do with artificial intelligence. So, like credit scoring, for example, is where if they tend to say that people from Lagos State do not pay back their loans, right? If the machine sort of picks that pattern that people from Lagos State don't pay back their loans, then in the credit scoring, you now want to give somebody from Lagos a loan. It will tell the person, it will pick up and say this person is from Lagos, don't give the person loan, or give the person a very low amount of loan because they don't pay back in Lagos State. Right? That is a form of bias to the person that actually pays back their loan in Lagos State. So all these things have to be factored in when you are teaching the machine to learn to learn from your data. So I'm breaking it down in this very granular manner to make us understand actually what happens at the back scene, right? For detection as well, for example, you perform a transaction and it goes through a machine to predict if the transaction is fraudulent or not. It's a supervised learning machine. It's supervised learning rather. So you've trained it to say if it sees XYZ, these are the possibilities of fraudulent transactions. So anytime it sees those XYZ in a particular transaction, it automatically understands that that's a fraudulent transaction and it picks it as a fraudulent transaction, right? So if you've actually used any tool that they tell you that your account has been blocked by a financial institution because they suspect fraud or something, there's a fraud detection model in play, right? So let's now talk about the ethical considerations, right? I want to demystify AI so much today that tomorrow, when we start to talk about the use cases that we can really relate with as product managers, we'll be able to better use this understanding to this knowledge to understand better tomorrow. So ethical considerations are transparency during data collection and usage, right? A lot of times, a lot of organizations that collect data, they just tell the customers that, or the users that, or they don't even tell them what they want to use the data for, right? But you're supposed to. Every customer, every user should know what you want to use the data you're collecting from them. They ought to know what the data will be used for. So I'm onboarding your platform today. You're asking for my age, my BVN, my payment card details, my location, my address, and these things. But I don't see anywhere where you are telling me how you use my data, right? That needs to be in place. And I would like to say, I always say in every event, I said it in the event I was invited to this morning, that data, the first law that the current president of Nigeria signed into law, the first act rather that was signed into law, or I don't know how to say those legal things, but the first law he signed was the data privacy law, right? To tell you that even Nigeria is not slacking on data privacy and data ethics and data governance. So always showing the customers or the users what you want to use their data for will help them better understand what they are giving you and how you're planning to use it. Also, while you're building your product, during your product development cycle, when you're doing life cycle, when you're doing your user research, you are doing your requirement gathering and the likes, always integrate ethics to what you do, right? Because whatever you do at that point is what informs what you build as a product, right? At the end of the day, you don't want to build a product that is biased to a particular group of people. So you have to be very sure that you are integrating ethics early enough, right? Also, you must ensure that emerging technologies are developed with ethical considerations, just like I have said, right? For in the space where there's AI today, that's why you see that ChatGPT keeps telling us that it's not very you might make mistakes, you might show form of bias and the likes, because they've not really sat down to fully annotate every single form of bias that you could have, right? So that's why people find those loopholes to say act as so and so, tell me how to kill myself, and they find all those information by confusing the chatbot, so to speak. So we must always ensure when we are building AI products, that they are developed with ethical considerations and also responsible use of data. This still ties to what I said in the first, what I said at first, right? We must use data responsibly. Data that our customers are giving us are for a reason. They are heavily protected, right? The European Union were the ones that started the GDPR, that we now have the NDPR, which have now become the NDPB. They are now a bureau, Nigerian Data Protection Bureau, right? So, and their sanctions are way more now than it used to be, because people's data have been used in a very bad manner. You can imagine loan companies collecting data from customers and now reaching out to contacts of those customers to challenge them, and even then threaten them to get their friends or family or whoever the person is to them to pay back the loan they've collected from them. That's a very wrong use of data, right? Is a private thing. The customer or the user is the one interfacing with the company. Why are you reaching out to somebody else that is a third party, right? So responsible use of data is very important. It's an ethical consideration we must always put in mind. Also, accountability for ethical implications of a product. So we are product managers, right? There's always a bug. There's always been somewhere. Own it, right? Take accountability for it, create accountability for it, and ensure such doesn't happen anymore. We just always hope and sometimes even pray that some of these implications don't really, they are not so huge that the entire organization or company is at risk. So these are ethical considerations we must note. And I will now move on to talk about some of the reasons why we are here. AI in Africa, right? Remember I said earlier when we started that Africa is still sort of lagging behind in the use of artificial intelligence, but we're catching up very fast. We have professionals that are pushing the edge of possibilities, pushing things. Although a lot of professionals that are very skilled tend to work for organizations that are not domiciled in the country or in the continent, but we are growing that skill. There's a lot of training going on to teach other people, to train other people in those skills. So this image I'm showing you is an image I got from the profile of the Minister of Communications. I'm sure we all know him. If you're in the tech space, you definitely know him. And in August 2023, they decided to create a national AI strategy for Nigeria, and I really love that idea. The idea was so wonderful because it is the right step in the right direction, because we need to move away from what we do currently, right? There needs to be a strategy. How do people collect data? How is AI used? How are we ensuring we don't have bias in whatever we are developing in around the AI space? So this was actually wonderful, and it's great to see that Nigeria is also catching up, right? I was looking for a report sometime back to sort of gauge where we are in artificial intelligence, how many organizations were using AI in their products and the likes in Nigeria. And it was a tough find, a very tough find. Compared to Western countries, I could see all the companies, all the ecosystems that they were operating in, right? But for Nigeria, it was very hard. So that's where I also even discovered that a lot of people that are even very knowledgeable in AI don't work for Nigerian or African companies. So this maybe these strategies will help us, train people that are domiciled, so that we can even write our models ourselves, write our models ourselves, and not just use the ones that has been written by a Western person for a Western ecosystem, that we find on GitHub, for example. Okay, so I want to talk about this bit to show that it's not that we are so bad in Africa. This is a report that somebody sent to me about AI in Africa. So anything around AI, I love to just read up on it. And it was a study that was conducted, and this was taken from that report that was posted on the school's website. And I saw a number of AI startups in Africa, and I was really impressed. So you see Algeria, you see Cameroon, and these countries on the left-hand side. You see the companies that are already using AI to push things, but we need more. We need way more than this. And we can now see we are just second behind South Africa. And to be very candid, South Africa is really, really doing awesome things with AI than any other African countries. So we have 20 AI startups that this academic has reported, right? And these are wonderful things that is to show that we are catching up on the use of AI to build products for in the African market and the African context. Are we there? Not yet, right? I'll make an example. There was a product that was built, and the product basically had to gather comments or sentiments from social media to make that business understand what is going on. What are people saying about their business on social media? And for it to happen at the back end, we had to use we had to use some form of techniques that were developed by the Western world, right? Which did not really, we now started noticing some lapses because we couldn't capture, there's no way a model that has been developed or an algorithm that was developed in Western world, there's no way to understand waiting they happen. There is no way to understand that, So building those models that will understand our context, in Africa, because if somebody goes on Twitter now to make a complaint and they say, una know they do well. For example, I hope you understand me on the call. There's no way AI that has not been trained on that understanding of una know they do well. We understand what you mean by una know they do well. So these are the things we need to do in Africa to like really beef up ourselves in the use of AI and to further build products so that we can achieve success as a collective. Okay, so that's it for today's presentation. Tomorrow, like I said, we'll be talking about personal experiences, how we can even really build these AI products, and we'll move from there. I want to use today to just introduce us to AI, its methodologies, challenging our misconceptions, and take questions. I want to take so many questions that you may have. And yes, okay, yes, there's this slide. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn away from this call. Or send me a tweet, a DM, or reach out to me on via mail. So back to you, Blessing.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Can you guys hear me? My network is really.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. All right. Thank you very much for that one. And yes, guys, do we have questions for Philip? It's really an amazing session. It's been okay. Let's raise our hands if we have questions. So we'll be taking the questions now. Let's have B Olofitila first. Hi B, please do well to go ahead to ask your question.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you, Phillips, for that presentation. It was really insightful. Yeah, so my questions goes alongside. We talked about why we are considering building a product that we should always have in the consideration of how we keep our data and stuff like that. Yeah, so my questions goes in that line that how do you keep your data in the sense of the framework from the back end when when well okay yes I already know that these are the kind of data I want to keep, but how do you store those data for you to be able to use as an AI person? So that's my question.
Okay, all right. That's a wonderful question, and it's very valid for you to have collected data from your users. That means you're storing them somewhere. And there's a number of organizations today or companies as we have them that have built, this um, they call them data warehouses, they call them, your data lakes and the likes. So there's always a database, where you can store this data, right? So every organization that is collecting data must invest in a database, a very secure database. There's so many of them. There's Microsoft data SQL database. There's AWS. There's Oracle. There's so many of them, right? So organizations must ensure that they don't store their customers' database in an Excel file that can easily be accessible by anybody, right? So an Excel can be a database. Maybe if you're just starting out as a startup and you just have like maybe 100 data points, 1,000 data points, it becomes unsafe at that point because you have collected private information of these customers, even their name, right? If they didn't give you their name, you will not know who they are, right? Or their phone numbers or their emails. These things are tied to other things that can really implicate them in something or make them lose out money from if scammers see them. So investment in a very tight database, I would say, would help you store your data better. So and there's this cloud infrastructure all around now that can be invested in. So that's how I answer your question, B.
All right, thank you for that. So, in addition to that, what if, let me say, for example, there's already a production going on, and we don't keep some quote data for us to track in terms of AI? How do you tend to integrate it when you are plowing? Let me say, I want to now do it because of an AI stuff I'm planning to do idea. So, how do you
Yes,
go?
I get your question clearly because it's a question that I get asked a lot, right? And that's why I always preach to product managers to collect, to always have the foresight, right? And collect relevant data even from onboarding. I can bet with you that collecting additional data is always tougher than collecting the data you collect the first time, right? From onboarding, it's always that if your customers keeps a column, right, that you didn't make very important at the point of onboarding, if you want to collect that data set, that data point back, I can bet with you that it's going to be tougher than even getting that customer to fill the other ones, because human behavior is very interesting, right? People feel like I'm using the product, I'm fine with it. Why should I then, give this extra data point that you're asking for? Why should I now fill this column? So you now see organizations doing promotions like input your Gmail and win something, input your location and win something, just because they now need that data point so that they can perform advanced analytics or perform machine learning, teach that the machine that language, or teach that machine about that data so that you can do something around AI with it. So when in a case where you've collected data, but you now need to collect more, what you have to do is the strategies that you employ. So whatever strategy you want to employ, do you want to gamify it? Do you want to make people just win something, or get a merch or something, just so that you can give you that data point? Just the strategies around just is the things you have to play with, to get that data point. But for organizations, you have to, or for product managers that are data centric, you have to have that foresight to say, well, we need this data point for XYZ in the future. That's why it's very important as product managers to always be in the know of emerging technologies, right? What is happening now, right? And that's why we have this Western world that are already moving at the speed of light. So following up with their innovations sometimes can help us to know how to shape our own product development initiatives when we are thinking about them.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, B.
All right, thank you very much for that one, Philip. I think that was very on point. All right, thank you so much. Let's have Clay David. Hi, Clay. Please go ahead to ask your question.
Hi, Phillips. I
Right.
hope everybody can hear me.
Hi,
Yes.
Kunle. Good evening.
Hi, Philip. Thanks for having us today. Um, okay, so my question is, I know you spoke a bit about the difference between a data product manager and an AI product manager, but there's a lot of talk also about a technical product manager. I'd like to know the difference between the three. I'd like you to talk a bit more about the difference between the three, and how can one, being a new product manager, how do you specialize? How do you choose which one you want to go for, and how do you train on that specialty? Is it possible for you to be a specialist on either of those three without necessarily being in a working environment or life environment?
Okay, those are very cardinal. Okay, I love those questions. All right. Yes, so immediately let me just give this definition. So a data product manager is someone that is skilled in handling or managing a life cycle of data-driven products, right? And data product is a product that facilitates an end goal through the use of data, right? So just to give an example, I would say, um, imagine, I don't know the industry you are in, but let me just try to make this example. So you want to create a report for your executive manager or your CEO or your managing director, right? And you have to create that report every month, right? And then a data product manager is someone that can now take that requirement that you need to provide every month and make it automated, right? So that you don't need to manually create that process every single month. So if you need to create the database for a particular type of data, fetch it into a platform, analyze it in a particular way. A data product manager is somebody that has that full understanding of how the data can move from one point to another and just basically create a product. It can even be a Power BI dashboard, to be very candid with you. It can be a landing page that the executive now comes on to see what is going on real time, right? Power BI dashboards are usually one of the ways to go about that. So that's basically what a big data product manager can do, right? An AI product manager is someone that now takes it a step further, right? He applies advanced analytics to the data, machine learning, so to speak, based on the business objective. And now, or sorry, the AI product manager is not the person applying the machine learning. So there's a machine learning engineer, there's a data scientist that does this, but the person has the understanding. So he tells the data scientist what kind of machine learning algorithms to use, that will better help him achieve the result. Then he now takes the output of that machine learning algorithm modeling to then to create a product with it. And I'll make an example. When I make examples, I think people get it better. So I talked about a sentiment, people getting sentiments from social media and the likes. That's an example of an AI product, right? So you gather sentiments from social media, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere your platform is, right, or where your organization has a page. Then you now gather that together, apply advanced analytics or machine learning to it, then now have an output. The output is now taken to put to sort of like fix in on an interface where business users can now understand and relate. I don't know if you know Meltwater. I don't know if you know AppsFlyer. These are tools that they use. These are those are examples of AI products. Even our ChatGPT, our beloved ChatGPT, is also an AI product if you look at it through the scope of large language models. So basically, I would say an AI product manager is somebody that has to have the deep understanding of AI and a deep understanding of product management. Then the technical product manager you talked about is basically somebody that has the knowledge of software engineering, software development, and product management. That's just what it is. So imagine a technical product manager is being somebody that has the understanding of software development. So all the terminologies, all the lingua of software development and software engineering, or the normal product development that we know, right? That a software is writing a code, is pushing to Git, and all those things. A technical product manager has that understanding, right? But in the space of analytics, an AI product manager is this person that now has the understanding of the AI technology and can apply that to a product, to build a product to achieve a business objective. So your other question that do you have to be on? You have to how do you become these things, or how do you become an AI product manager? I think that was a question. So to become an AI product manager, I remember recently somebody reached out to me. Apparently, the person was in a session I did earlier in the year. I was talking about I can't remember what I was talking about, but he talked about that event and I remembered. And he said he saw my designation being an AI product manager and decided to do research. And he found out a course by pendo.io. I still remember that word. And the course title was AI for Product Managers. And he said he took the course and now he has finished the course and he was thanking me for even pushing him to go and do the course. So as a product manager that you are already, to now add that knowledge of AI to what you do would really be beneficial to you. So taking courses like that would help you understand the scope of AI as a technology, right? So you can know how to apply it to the business that you're currently running rather, right? So the last part of your question that says do you have to be on a job to learn it? I don't think so, right? I really don't think so. So for me, for example, my story is not in the linear form. I had to, go from product management into data science, then now back into or combine both together to become an AI product manager. Whereas for some other people that I've spoken with, they were product managers and they just had to go and learn about AI or data analytics, right? And they now found ways to apply it back into their product management skills, right? So from the point of their ideation up to the delivery of their products, they now know how to apply data analytics, AI to their products. So those are the mechanisms that exist, and I hope I did some justice to the question you answered.
Right. I hope you did. Clay David, can you confirm? Because to me, you did.
Yeah, that
Right.
was awesome. That was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right.
So
That's
do we have more questions?
we have no
I
questions.
tend to see that when we talk about AI, when I actually break AI down for people, people tend to like be very shocked that is that what really happens? So for you to apply AI to whatever product you're building, you have to think extra. That's just what it is. To be very candid with us on the call, right? You have to you have to take yourself from everything you think you already know, and now understand that technology, how it works, so you can know how to apply it into what you're building. So understanding that background of things will really do you great, to apply it to the product you're building. Tomorrow, I'll talk about all that very well. Today's just like sort of like an introduction into it, because 1 hour
Yeah.
can't really be enough to talk about AI. So yeah, back to you, Blessing.
All right. Thank you very much. Like you guys have heard, today is just preamble. Tomorrow you're gonna listen to the main cocoa inside the coconut. Right. So yes, thank you so much, Philip, for this amazing session. Guys, let's go ahead to our social media. Let's go and drop the amazing things that we have learned today on our social media. Tag Philip Ade-Akanbi on LinkedIn, and tag Innovalab as well. Then on Twitter, right, tag P Ade, right? Am I right?
Yes, just like Padia Combi,
Ade,
Padia Combi,
Ade Akonde,
all
Akonbi
together.
rather, right? So let's go ahead to our socials. Let's go and drop all of the amazing things. I mean, we receive information differently, and of course, I feel like everybody here have learned one thing, but in their lives, it has different
Interpretations.
interpretations, because I mean we're not in the same space. We're in different spaces of our lives or in our lives, right? So yeah, the differentiation will be there, right? So thank you so much, Philip, for this amazing session. Thank you guys. Let's go ahead to share um what we have learned, of course, right? And tomorrow we'll meet again for the cocoa inside the coconut, right? That's the main gist. So if you are not here tomorrow, then I mean, like I said, there's no recording for this session. We are currently recording right now, right? But we are not going to release the recording for anybody, except Innovalab says otherwise, right? So maybe people can go and meet Innovalab to say otherwise. But for now, that's like the order from above, right? So yes, thank you guys so much for attending this session. I'll see you tomorrow. I mean, we will see each other tomorrow, right? For another amazing time. Right. Thank you so much, Philip, for this
Thank you
session.
very much for having me
I
today.
bring greetings from the rest of the team. Thank you so much. Thank you. And we hope